Welcome. Today we're exploring a powerful tool for self-understanding and growth, the Enneagram. I'm going to show you how this ancient system intersects with Jungian psychology and how together they can illuminate the path to your authentic self. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I do the things I do? Or how can I have more fulfilling relationships? So much of what we struggle with in life comes from unconscious patterns, habits formed in childhood, ways we protect ourselves from pain, and automatic reactions we rarely question. The Enneagram is a system that maps 9 fundamental personality types and their complex interrelationships. More than just a personality typology, it's a dynamic map of consciousness that reveals both our habitual patterns and our potential for transformation. Each point on this 9-pointed symbol represents a distinct perspective on reality, where our attention naturally goes, how we cope with emotions and stress, what unconscious fears and desires shape our life choices. But the Enneagram isn't about putting you in a box. It's about showing you the box you're already in so you can step outside of it. Now, how does this ancient wisdom system connect with the pioneering work of Carl Jung? Jung recognized that the human psyche contains universal patterns he called archetypes. These innate psychological structures shape how we perceive and interact with the world. The 9 Enneagram types can be understood as 9 archetypal patterns, each with its own distinct worldview, motivations, and defense mechanisms. Like Jung's archetypes, these patterns transcend culture and time. They're fundamental aspects of human consciousness. Jung's concept of the persona, the social mask we wear, parallels what the Enneagram calls personality. Our Enneagram type forms early in life as a strategy for survival and acceptance. It becomes our primary lens for viewing reality, but it isn't our essence. In both systems, there's a crucial distinction between who we think we are and who we truly are. The Enneagram, like Jung's individuation process, points to the difference between personality and essence. As Beatrice Chestnut highlights, we exist in a kind of waking sleep because of our early childhood programming. This powerful idea echoes Jung's understanding of the unconscious. We live much of our lives on autopilot. Our personality is shaped by early defense mechanisms that helped us survive but now limit us. Without realizing it, we are acting from deeply ingrained patterns rather than conscious choice. Personality is the conditioned self, the habitual patterns we've developed since childhood. It's what Jung would call our persona and ego structures. Essence, however, is our unconditioned nature, similar to what Jung might call the self, with a capital S, the archetype of wholeness. Each Enneagram type represents a particular way we've forgotten our essence, a specific pattern of identification with our personality structure. The good news? By understanding our type, we can begin the journey back to our authentic nature. Jung spoke extensively about the shadow, those disowned aspects of ourselves that we've rejected or repressed. In the Enneagram, each type has specific blind spots and disowned qualities. For example, a type 1, the perfectionist, often represses their anger and messy humanity in pursuit of being good. Their shadow contains their spontaneity and acceptance of imperfection. The Enneagram helps us identify and integrate these shadow elements, much like Jung's process of shadow work. When we embrace these disowned parts, we become more whole, more authentic, and more capable of genuine connection. Jung described complexes as emotionally charged groups of ideas that influence our behavior outside conscious awareness. The Enneagram parallels this with what it calls fixations, the habitual patterns of attention and emotion that characterize each type. For example, a type 1 constantly tries to do the right thing, but may not realize they suppress their natural impulses out of fear of making a mistake. A type 6 always anticipates what could go wrong, but may not see how much of their thinking is driven by fear rather than reality. A type 4 longs for deep meaning, but may not recognize how their focus on what's missing keeps them from appreciating the present moment. Just as Jung saw complexes as psychological knots that need to be untangled, The Enneagram sees fixations as patterns that need to be observed and loosened for growth to occur. This brings us to the essential practice, observation. Both Jung and the Enneagram teachers emphasize the power of conscious awareness. To work with the Enneagram effectively, you must develop the capacity to observe yourself without judgment. This means watching your patterns as they arise, your automatic reactions, your habitual emotions, your recurring thoughts. When you notice yourself acting from your personality pattern, simply observe it. Ah, there's my type 6 anxiety looking for certainty again. Or, I see my type 3 achievement drive kicking in. This observation creates space between stimulus and response, space to choose differently. The ultimate gift of both Jungian work and the Enneagram is disidentification, the profound recognition that you are not your personality. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Similarly, until you recognize that you are not your Enneagram type, it will run your life automatically. As Chestnut writes, the ability to wake up is not only possible, but also an inherent part of being human. This waking up is the essence of disidentification. The practice is simple but profound. Whenever you catch yourself in a type pattern, gently remind yourself, this is my personality operating, but it is not who I am. Over time, this creates freedom from automatic patterns. So how do you begin? First, identify your primary Enneagram type through self-observation and possibly assessment. Notice which patterns feel most familiar, which motivations drive you, which fears underlie your behavior. Second, study your type deeply. Learn its gifts, challenges, blind spots, and growth paths. Third, practice daily observation. Set reminders to check in with yourself. What am I feeling right now? What am I focusing on? What automatic reactions am I having? Finally, work with a skilled guide. A therapist familiar with both the Enneagram and Jungian approaches can help illuminate what you might miss on your own. The Enneagram, like Jung's psychology, isn't just about self-knowledge. It's about transformation. It shows us both our starting point and our potential. In psychology, we often focus on changing behavior, but true transformation happens when we first develop awareness. The Enneagram helps us see our unconscious patterns clearly, understand how they were formed, learn to observe our reactions instead of being ruled by them. When we understand our Enneagram type, we gain compassion for ourselves and others. We see that everyone is doing the best they can from within their particular pattern. And we recognize that each type represents one essential aspect of the whole human experience. The journey begins with awareness. As you learn to observe your personality in action and gradually disidentify from it, you'll discover something remarkable. Beneath your conditioned patterns lies your essential nature, waiting to be reclaimed. What part of this resonates with you? I invite you to reflect on these ideas and begin your own journey of self-discovery with the Enneagram. Thank you for joining me on this introduction to the Enneagram and its connection to Jungian psychology. In our next video, we'll explore each of the 9 types in greater depth.